The New Testament describes various figures that are often associated with the end times. Two of those figures are the man of lawlessness, described in 2 Thessalonians 2:3, and then the Antichrist, described in 1 John 2:18. Some interpreters, Greg Beale for example, take these two different figures in two different texts to be one in the same in reality. On this view, Paul and John simply have different names for the same person. But is this the best reading of these texts? Does the evidence really support suggesting that the man of lawlessness and the Antichrist are indeed one and the same? Those are the questions we're looking at in this video. Stick around till the end to hear the answer based on the evidence we find in the text. Before we jump into the text itself, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe and tap the bell to get notified about new videos from Theology Project. And then leave a comment and tell me your answer to the question we're talking about today. Should we see the man of lawlessness and the Antichrist as one and the same figure? So in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, Paul writes to instruct the Thessalonians that the events associated with the second coming of Jesus have not yet begun to happen. It looks like some of them overreacted to what he had to say about the second coming of Jesus in 1 Thessalonians and are expecting it all of a sudden very quickly in the near immediate future. And now he writes to say, no, don't quit your jobs, get back to work. There are some things that still need to happen first. One of those things for Paul that suggests the second coming hasn't happened yet is that this figure he calls the lawless one, or the man of lawlessness, has not yet come on the scene. This figure, Paul says, opposes God's, sets himself up as God, as an object of worship, will take his seat in the temple. That's how Paul describes the man of lawlessness. He hasn't come yet because he's being restrained by some mysterious restraining force, whether that force is a person or some abstract force. It's hard to say based on the text itself. And Paul doesn't go into detail about the nature of that restraining power. In 1 John 2:18, John writes to his recipients and says, you've heard that this figure called Antichrist is coming, and now many antichrists have already come into the world. And some people read that and say, hey, you've got kind of these minor antichrist figures who are anticipating at some point in the future some major antichrist figure, like the Antichrist is coming. It's probably not the best way to read this text. A better way to come at it would be to think of it like this. John is saying, hey, you've heard this is going to happen. Now, not only has it happened, it's happened multiple times. Several of these figures have come on the stage. You've heard that an Antichrist is coming. Turns out we've seen several. And interestingly, when John uses the word Antichrist, and he's the only author in the entire New Testament, no other figure in the New Testament outside the epistles of John uses the word Antichrist. John actually uses it more often in the plural than he does the singular. So antichrists, multiple, plural. So are these figures the same? What does the text indicate? What's the evidence in the text itself? In my view, there are good reasons to say no, the man of lawlessness and the antichrists are not the same figure. For one reason, Paul only talks about the man of lawlessness in the singular. He makes it out to be only one person, not numerous men of lawlessness, but the lawless one. In contrast, John usually talks about antichrists in the plural, so that looks like very different notions of whoever these biblical authors are talking about. It doesn't look like it's the same figure because Paul focuses on one and John focuses on many. Not the same. The second key piece of evidence is that in 1 John, the Antichrist figures in the plural are said to come out of the Christian community. They've committed apostasy, or they've broken fellowship with the other believers. John says they came out from us. And so it looks like a sect or a party of some sort broke off from the Christian community, John's community that he's writing to encourage. They went out from that community. They started out as believers and then went off and did their own thing. In 2 Thessalonians, Paul gives no indication whatsoever that the man of lawlessness emerges out of any Christian community. He doesn't indicate that the man of lawlessness is a believer who goes astray. He doesn't suggest that the man of lawlessness is a believer who commits apostasy. You don't get anything like that. There's no suggestion whatsoever that this lawless one starts out as part of the Christian community and then goes out. So based on those 2 points of observation, just the data from the text of Scripture, that Paul talks about a singular man of lawlessness. John talks primarily about multiple antichrists. And then secondly, in 1 John, the antichrist figures emerge from the Christian community. In 2 Thessalonians, you get no indication that that's the case whatsoever with the man of lawlessness. So we have to conclude, based on the evidence in the text of these 2 books of the New Testament, that the man of lawlessness and the antichrist or various antichrist figures are not the same person. Based on the evidence in the text, we should not conflate these figures, but we should let the text stand on their own. Hey, thanks for watching this edition of Theology Project. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, tap the bell, and share it on your social media platforms to spread the word about Theology Project. Thanks for watching.